Have you ever wondered how Japan consistently ranks high in longevity, cleanliness, calmness, and overall having their life together energy? While the rest of us are out here losing entire afternoons to group chats and wondering why our apartment suddenly looks like a disaster. But here's the secret. It's not luck. It's not superhuman discipline. It's habits, tiny ones. Habits so small you'd overlook them. Habits that seem almost too gentle to matter. And that's exactly why they work. Today, we're breaking down 11 tiny Japanese habits that reshape your life from the inside out. Ikigai. This is Japan's answer to that existential 2 a.m. feeling where you stare at the ceiling like, what is my purpose? Also, why did I eat that entire bag of chips? It translates to reason for being, but it's less philosophical fluff and more, here's why your soul actually clocks in every morning. In Okinawa, one of the world's famous blue zones, where people somehow live long enough to see multiple generations argue over who left the lights on, almost everyone can tell you their ikigai. Researchers think that clarity is a longevity superpower. When you have a reason to wake up, your body basically goes, all right, cool, let's keep this show running. And no, Ikigai isn't about becoming a billionaire astronaut life coach. It's usually small, earthy, human things, tending a garden, teaching a craft, caring for grandkids, making something with your hands. Western culture screams, find your passion. Ikigai whispers, find what makes you quietly glad to be alive. The classic framework sits at the intersection of 4 questions. What do you love? What are you good at? What does the world need? What can you be paid for? If something hits all 4, that's your ikigai. Most people never ask themselves these questions. They just drift. They choose the job, the routine, the life script handed to them, and then wonder why everything feels beige. But sit with the questions, even a little, that's when the edges of your purpose start to appear. Kaizen. If you've ever tried to change your entire life on a Monday, and by Wednesday you're eating cereal for dinner and Googling why am I like this, Kaizen is the antidote. It's Japan's quietly brilliant strategy for getting better without burning out, crashing, or joining the witness protection program to escape your to-do list. Kaizen literally means continuous improvement, but not the dramatic movie montage kind. No sweatbands, no reinventing yourself like a character who just discovered therapy on TikTok. It's the 1% better rule. Tiny upgrades that are so laughably small, your brain can't protest. That's the magic. The effort is microscopic, but the compound effect is monstrous. Toyota basically built an empire on this idea. Instead of giant overhauls, every worker found one tiny thing to improve each day. A tool placed 2 inches closer, a movement shortened by 1 second, a redundant step nuked entirely. Individually? Meh. Together? Industrial-grade sorcery. And your brain works exactly the same way. 1 push-up, 1 page, 1 minute of tidying, 1 bite eaten slower. Psychologists call this reducing activation energy, making the starting line so low, your brain just shrugs and goes, sure, why not? And once you start, your momentum quietly snowballs. The goal isn't to transform overnight. That's how people end up with abandoned gym memberships. The goal is to never stop moving forward, even if the steps are tiny enough to need a microscope. Osoji. Osoji is Japan's end-of-year ritual, where people deep clean their homes like they're about to host the emperor, the pope, and their mother-in-law all at once. But here's the twist. It's not really about dust. It's about resetting your inner operating system. Think of it as spring cleaning, but with spiritual patch notes. You're not just throwing out old receipts and that mysterious takeout soy sauce packet collection. You're clearing out the stale energy of the year. The mental clutter, the emotional backlog, the psychic notifications you never swiped away. In Japan, Osoji happens before New Year's, because the belief is simple. Don't drag last year's mess into the next one. Psychologists would call this closure signaling. Your environment cues your brain that a cycle has ended, making space, literally, for what's next. And honestly, there's something deeply therapeutic about sweeping away the physical proof of procrastination. You're not just organizing a drawer, you're negotiating with your past self. You're saying, I forgive you, but I'm also throwing out these 17 empty pens. Osoji isn't about perfection, it's about intention. It's a reset button disguised as a cleaning day, and your brain absolutely loves a clean slate. Hara Hachi Bu. Hara Hachi Bu is the tiny Japanese habit that basically says, put the fork down before your stomach files a complaint. It's the Okinawan practice of eating until you're 80% full, not stuffed, not rolling me out of the restaurant, just comfortably almost satisfied. It's shockingly simple, which is probably why it works. The sneaky problem is that your brain runs on dial-up when it comes to hunger signals. It takes around 20 minutes to realize you're actually full. So if you stop eating when you feel full, congratulations, you've already overdrafted your stomach's energy account. That extra 20% stacks up over time in inflammation, sluggish afternoons, and the slow drift toward why do my genes hate me? But the 80% rule flips that script. Eat slower, notice flavors, pause halfway through and ask, am I truly hungry or am I just vibing with the texture? Okinawans literally say Hara Hachi Bu before meals as a mindfulness cue, like a tiny contract with their future selves. Try it. End your meal just a little earlier than you normally would. You'll be shocked at how often still hungry was just your brain lagging behind like a slow-loading web page. Shinrin-Yoku. The next habit is Shinrin-Yoku, or forest bathing. Sounds like you're about to strip down and hug a cedar tree, but don't worry. It's just the Japanese practice of immersing yourself in nature slowly, intentionally, and preferably without doom scrolling. This isn't hiking for cardio. It's not 10,000 steps or you're a failure. It's wandering through greenery, letting your nervous system unclench for the first time all week. And yes, Japanese doctors literally prescribe this, as in, you seem stressed, please go touch some trees. Because the data is ridiculous. Time in nature lowers cortisol, reduces blood pressure, boosts mood, strengthens the immune system, and even activates your parasympathetic nervous system. The internal setting that says, hey, maybe we don't need to live in fight or flight like a startled meerkat. A big part of this effect comes from phytoncides, natural compounds trees release to protect themselves from insects. When you inhale them, your body gets the memo. Relax, breathe, reboot. It's like the forest is doing low-key tech support on your brain. And the best part? You don't need a mystical Japanese forest or a 12-hour pilgrimage. A park works. A quiet street with decent trees works. Even a scrappy trail behind your local grocery store works, as long as you leave the distractions behind. Wabi-Sabi. If you were amazed by all the little habits until now, check out the next one. Wabi-Sabi. Western culture treats perfection like a full-time job. Flawless skin, immaculate homes. My life is a minimalist beige aesthetic. Instagram feeds. Meanwhile, Wabi-Sabi walks in like a chill friend whispering, you know, nothing is perfect, right? And also, it doesn't need to be. Wabi-Sabi is the Japanese worldview that celebrates impermanence, incompleteness, and imperfection. The crack in the teacup, the weathered table that looks like it's seen some things, the wrinkle you earned from laughing too hard at the wrong moment. In Wabi-Sabi, these aren't flaws, they're features. And honestly, it's freedom disguised as philosophy. When you stop demanding perfection from everything, your appearance, your career, the way your towels fold, you finally get off the hamster wheel of not enough. Perfection is a moving target anyway. Even if you hit it for a moment, you blink, and it's gone, replaced by some new standard that requires 3 apps, 2 serums, and emotional stamina nobody has. Wabi-Sabi invites you to look at the messy, uneven, slightly chaotic reality in front of you and ask, what's beautiful about this exactly as it is? Spoiler, usually a lot more than you realized. This isn't about giving up. It's about letting go. Letting go of unrealistic expectations. Letting go of comparison. Letting go of the idea that your worth depends on perfect outcomes or perfect timing. Gaman. Gaman is one of those Japanese concepts the internet loves to misunderstand. People here endure with dignity and assume it means stuff your emotions into a drawer and hope they don't escape. But Gaman isn't emotional suppression. It's emotional self-leadership. It's the ability to face something difficult without theatrics, without spiraling into, my life is over, and without announcing your suffering to the entire digital hemisphere. In the West, we've normalized turning every inconvenience into a cinematic monologue. Wi-Fi is slow? Tell your group. Chat. Barista spelled your name wrong? Public statement. Feeling overwhelmed? Time to drop a vague Instagram story. But Gaman flips the script. It treats hardship like weather, something you move through. not something you audition for sympathy with. And there's science behind this. When you complain constantly, you reinforce a narrative that you're powerless, a passive character being tossed around by life. Over time, that story becomes your identity. Your brain literally wires around it. Gaman refuses that wiring. It says, yes, this is hard. And yes, I am capable anyway. It doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means not letting pain become your personality. You can still seek support. You just don't hand your suffering the microphone. Omoiyari. If the internet had a loading screen, it would say, buffering empathy not found, which is why omoiyari feels almost radical. It's the Japanese habit of anticipating other people's needs before they ask and adjusting your behavior so life runs a little smoother for everyone. Not grand gestures, tiny ones. Talking quietly on trains so strangers can hear their own thoughts. Cleaning up a public space even when no one's watching. Omoiyari is basically the opposite of main character syndrome. It's the belief that your actions ripple outward, and if you make those ripples gentle, society becomes gentler too. And yes, psychology backs this up. Prosocial behavior increases trust, reduces stress, and boosts your own well-being. Helping others literally gives your brain a warm biochemical pat on the back. But more importantly, omoiyari shifts your perspective from me to we, which makes your own problems feel a little less apocalyptic. In Japan, this mindset is baked into daily life, not as a performance, not as a be kind slogan on a pastel hoodie, just as an unspoken agreement that we all share the same public living room, so maybe don't spill your emotional soup everywhere. Try this. Before you act, pause for half a second and ask, how will this affect the people around me? If you're blocking the aisle, move. If your music is loud, turn it down. If you're leaving a space, leave it better. Tiny acts, huge ripple effects. The world gets softer, and so do you. Kintsugi. Kintsugi might be the most visually satisfying metaphor in Japanese culture. When a ceramic bowl breaks, they don't toss it. They repair it with gold, turning the cracks into the most beautiful part of the piece. Because here's the uncomfortable spoiler. You're gonna break. Everyone does. Life is basically a series of unexpected plot twists followed by you whispering, seriously? To no one in particular. But Kintsugi says the breaking isn't the tragedy. It's the transformation. Your fractures aren't proof that you're defective. They're proof that you've lived. And when you rebuild, you don't hide the cracks. You highlight them. You integrate them. You let them become part of your identity instead of something you desperately hope no one notices. Modern psychology backs this up with the concept of post-traumatic growth. People often become stronger, wiser, more grounded because of what broke them, not in spite of it. Kintsugi is that idea made visible. The strongest people aren't the ones who stayed pristine. They're the ones who shattered, swept up the pieces, and decided the repair would be art. So if you're in the middle of something heavy right now, remember, you're not damaged goods, you're mid-restoration. Kansha. Kansha is Japan's quiet, everyday form of soft gratitude. Humble, almost invisible. It's the instinctive thankfulness for small things. A good meal, a kind gesture, the effort someone put in even if it wasn't perfect. Gratitude, but without the Instagram quote graphic taped to a sunset background. In Japanese culture, kansha shows up as tiny acknowledgments, thanking objects when you're done using them, bowing to someone who held a door, appreciating the unseen labor that keeps daily life functional, and research backs this up. It improves mental health, reduces stress, and increases resilience, but only when it's sincere and habitual, not performed for external validation. Kansha works because it shifts your baseline attention. You stop scanning for what's missing and start noticing what's already supporting you. It's not about feeling grateful when life is perfect. That's easy. It's about recognizing the warmth in everyday ordinariness. Ma. The last habit I would like you to consider is ma. One of those concepts that sounds simple but secretly rewires your entire worldview. It means intentional space. The pause in a conversation, the emptiness in a room, the margin on a page. In Western culture, silence is often treated like an awkward pause. People rush to fill every empty moment with noise, chatter, productivity, or a comforting little doomscroll session. But in Japan, ma is a feature, not a glitch. It's the belief that emptiness isn't lacking, it's breathing room. It creates clarity. It makes meaning visible. It helps your brain stop acting like a browser with 47 tabs open, one of which is definitely autoplaying audio. Psychologically, Ma aligns with cognitive rest states, the mind's reset zones where your thoughts reorganize, your creativity resurfaces, and your stress levels stop trying to stage a coup. When you allow pauses, your nervous system actually recalibrates. Ma shows up everywhere in Japanese art and design. The spacing between brushstrokes, the quiet moment in a tea ceremony, the way a room feels uncluttered because it isn't trying to scream with decor. And in life, practicing Ma looks like not rushing to fill the silence, leaving blank space in your schedule, letting a room have emptiness instead of more stuff. If this reshaped how you think about habits, the next video is going to hit even harder. Go watch it. Your brain will thank you.